Disclaimer. The following program is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. While this production is based on real-life events, public records, and official law enforcement reports, certain scenes, dialogue, and chronologies have been stylized or interpreted for narrative clarity. The theories presented are for discussion and do not constitute a definitive legal conclusion. Viewers are encouraged to consult official statements from the Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI for verified investigative updates. In the affluent, unincorporated community of the Catalina Foothills, life usually moves at a quiet, predictable pace. But on the morning of February 1st, that silence was shattered. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, described by her family as sharp as a tack but physically fragile, vanished from her home. Now what followed was a digital trail that went cold in the dead of night, and a series of cryptic messages that have left a nation and a high-profile family in an hour of desperation. Before we go any further, if this is your first time here, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your support means the world and helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Stick with us until the end, and if this mystery moves you, share your thoughts in the comments and pass it along to a friend.
Fixating on this frame of video, questioning if it's a tattoo. But with the dark images, digital forensics expert Adam Scott Want says it could be a watch and cautions against the reliability of user-generated enhancements.
I don't think we have enough from this particular photo to run that through any sort of eye or facial recognition, but we do have enough once we have a suspect to be able to confirm whether or not it's them from this picture.
Want points to important physical characteristics gleaned from the Nest camera.
Using the rim of the arch along with the tiles, experts will be able to get his height, weight, and shoe size almost exactly.
One of the biggest clues?
Most people don't realize that the gait of an individual is almost as unique as a fingerprint.
Investigators hoping these surveillance images are the break in the case so many have been desperately waiting for. And it's happened before. Consider the search for accused killer Luigi Mangione.
Well, he has his beanie pulled down, so the only thing you can see is his eyebrows.
Police officers were called to this McDonald's one day after releasing these images to the public. And last summer, the suspected shooter in Charlie Kirk's assassination turned himself in at the urging of his parents after these surveillance images and video were made public.
This helps narrow down an unlimited universe of what could have happened to a sliver of what probably did happen.
And Want believes these images in Tucson are just the beginning.
Saturday, January 31st, began like any other. Nancy spent the evening with her family, playing games, sharing a meal, and enjoying the company of her children and grandchildren. 5:32 p.m. Nancy leaves her home in an Uber. 9:48 p.m. The Uber drops her back at her residence. Surveillance shows her garage door opening. In 9:50 p.m., the door closes. It was the last time she was seen. Inside the house, Nancy was alone, but she wasn't unmonitored.
The timeline, I think we've got it on the board, do we not? This is a timeline that we have been able to develop with some of the things that we've had processed. Various pieces of electronics that we've gathered. And you look at some of this, and I know you're going to say, well, why did it take you so long to get this to us, Sheriff? Well, because one thing, it's got to go out and be processed at different lab sites, and sometimes that stuff comes back to us. And like you, we have questions. And we say, wait a minute, what is this about? What about this? Could it be that? And so it's sent back or it's sent somewhere else. So, and that's happening with all of the things we see, that process, that review, and that questioning of, all right, what is it we're looking at? So I'll go over it with you. You can see it on the board there, but at about 5:32 p.m., these are approximate times. 5:32 p.m., Nancy travels to her local family's home for dinner and playing games with the family, just visiting. At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes, which is that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So that detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that. 2:28. Nancy's Pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12 minutes later, our patrol teams arrive. They see the scene, and we start our response with our search and rescue teams and our detectives from homicide and various units. In fact, every unit here, I think somebody questioned, how come there's an ICAC member out here or this member? Everybody in our criminal investigations team is a part of this team and part of this investigative effort.
Investigators began to piece together a terrifying timeline from the smart home devices Nancy left behind. Between midnight and dawn, the house's security and health systems began to fail one by one. 1:47 a.m. The Google Nest doorbell camera is disconnected. It has never been found. 2:12 a.m. Motion software detects a presence on the property. Because the subscription had lapsed, there is no video, only a notification of a shadow in the dark. 2:28 a.m. The most chilling data point of all. Nancy's pacemaker, the device keeping her heart in rhythm, disconnects from the monitoring app on her phone. By noon the next day, the family's concern turned to horror. Nancy had missed a virtual church service. When they arrived at the home, she was gone. Her cell phone remained on the counter. But on the porch outside, Pima County Sheriff's deputies found a grim omen: blood. DNA testing would later confirm it belonged to Nancy.
Tracy, we have this new video from Savannah's brother that's just been posted on social media. They've just released it. Let's play it for our viewers, please.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
All right, we're going to go back to Tracy in a moment. I want to get right out to Liz Kreutz, who's been leading our coverage out there in Tucson. Liz, so you've seen this video. Now our viewers have seen this video. It's upsetting because it sounds like this deadline's approaching and the Guthries have not been contacted about how to make contact with this alleged abductor if this is legitimate.
Exactly, Tom. I mean, I'll tell you, it's 5:11 right now where we are in Tucson. So 10 minutes after this first deadline, we know from the FBI that there are two deadlines. There's this 5 o'clock deadline today, and then there's the deadline on Monday. And so clearly they are trying any kind of avenue they can to make it known and project and telegraph to whoever this may be that they want to negotiate, they want to talk, and they are willing to open that line of communication. Clearly, we saw that first step last night when Savannah and her family put that video out 24 hours before the deadline. It would seem, and we could maybe glean from this that to no avail. They haven't been able to make any kind of communication. So they're continuing with this video as well. And we're hearing now really from the brother for the first time, too. And I thought it was notable, Tom, that at the press conference, the FBI special agent in charge, when he was asked, at what point do you just decide, OK, this isn't legitimate? What's the bar where you'll say, OK, I guess this was a hoax? He didn't give an exact answer, but he did say that usually in these sorts of situations, he said by now, typically we would have been able to make contact with somebody like this. So remains to be seen if they're going to be successful. And again, this is just a reported note. We don't know the validity of it.
It's incredibly frustrating, right? And Liz, just so our viewers are clear, right, it is still unclear if these ransom notes, we believe there are 2 of them, are even legitimate to begin with. And one of the reasons is, investigators are saying, okay, there was some information that maybe the abductor would know, but there are still outstanding questions from all the information we know that's been released publicly. Did this person actually know this, or did they see photos online? Did they get initial social media reports and put that in the note and make it look real?
Right. So what we understand, Tom, and I'll actually just tell you, it sounds like now there might be 3 copies of this ransom note, that 2 local stations here in Tucson also obtained this, and also then TMZ. So 3 different copies of it. NBC News has not seen these notes ourselves. We know law enforcement, again, has not verified the legitimacy. From what we understand, they were sent to some local stations via email. I think in one of the cases, it may have been sent through a tip line for the news station. Those news stations saw it, clearly saw something in it that made them think it was legitimate enough, with more personal enough information, that they immediately passed it on to law enforcement. And today the sheriff was praising to us that the local news stations did that. That's how it got elevated through the system. We do not know some of the most personal details that are in there. They're withholding that. We do know about the Apple Watch that was mentioned, and also the floodlights. And what's challenging there, Tom, is those are 2 things that are also publicly available. Pretty early on in this investigation, it came out that through some reporting that she had an Apple Watch, and if you're at the house, you can see the floodlights. So it's hard to know, maybe that person just happened to see the reporting and put that in the note.
Liz, I want to get back to our expert in a second, but I have one more question for you. Do we know if the ransom notes were sent to those local stations at the same time?
I believe they were at different times, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But the way that it came out in the reporting, at least, it came out at different times. So it was first we found out about one station, TMZ, and then eventually we found out about another station.
Okay, Liz Kreutz, I'm sure you're going to be standing
As
by.
the FBI processed the home under a white forensic tent, the case took a dark turn into the world of kidnappings. 2 ransom notes were sent to local news outlets. One mentioned specific deadlines and demanded a monetary value. The second, more ominous, suggested that if a Monday deadline was missed, Nancy would be harmed. Savannah Guthrie, via Instagram. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive, and she needs it not to suffer. We received your message, and we understand. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay. The deadlines have passed. The communication has stopped.
Our own Savannah Guthrie is out with a new video message directed toward whoever may have kidnapped her mother. Let's listen in.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Now, police have been looking for Nancy Guthrie for more than a week now. She was last seen last Saturday, dropped off by family at her home in Tucson, Arizona. NBC News' Dana Griffin is on the ground in Tucson for us. And Dana, bring us up to speed on the latest in this investigation.
Yeah, so Corey, the latest is last night we saw investigators return to Nancy Guthrie's home, where they spent a lot of time collecting new potential evidence. There's video showing them on the roof, on the grounds, literally searching every inch of that property. Now, investigators have not revealed why they went back or if they found anything of significance, but it's important because it shows that this is still a very urgent and a very dire investigation. Investigators yesterday also confirmed a new message that was received and they say that message was not necessarily a ransom note, but it detailed something that was critical for them to investigate. And so investigators are now trying to piece together the last movements. We heard from Circle K, one of the convenience stores in town. They put out a statement saying that investigators had come to one of their gas stations located on a road that is just maybe a few miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. We have not confirmed exactly which Circle K gas station, but the company said that they turned over surveillance video to investigators after they received a tip. Now, investigators say they have not identified a vehicle connected to this crime, nor have they identified a suspect or a person of interest. Tonight, a new message.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Nancy Guthrie's family pleading for her return nearly a week after she was reported missing. Authorities overnight back at Nancy Guthrie's Tucson home. Drone video showing FBI agents searching every inch of the property, disconnecting and removing a device from the roof, and climbing up a ladder into dense vegetation. A vehicle believed to be Nancy's towed away. As renewed activity shut down roads near her home, reaction from the highest levels of government. President Trump last night on Air Force One.
We have some clues, I think, that are very strong, and I think we could have some answers coming up fairly soon.
Investigators looking for potential clues in a second note sent to the same Tucson TV station that received a ransom note through their anonymous tip line earlier this week.
What was your reaction? I did not enjoy receiving that. I did not know that we were going to be the communication platform.
Authorities have not said what's in it, if it's connected to the first note, or if either is legitimate.
There is something in there that we believe they're trying to convey. This is the same people.
I see. We know this, something that only the family would know, I'm assuming.
Something like that.
The news director sharing the latest note was not a ransom demand and did not include proof of life. NBC News asked the Pima County Sheriff if Nancy's pacemaker could prove she's alive. He said it's not definitive.
It's a tool, but I don't know that it ever will tell you she's alive or not.
Can you consult with her doctor? Sometimes it can.
We've talked to doctors and we've talked to the pacemaker company, and all of those things are working. But my understanding is you could be deceased and that pacemaker still is working.
Now, the Guthries' agonizing wait continues for their mother.
All right, and Dana, what else did that local news director tell you?
Yeah, so this is Jessica Bobula. She is the news director for KOLD News. She told me that they received that first ransom note on Monday. They did send it to the sheriff's office immediately, but they did not put it out in the media until other stations started reporting it. And once the FBI confirmed that they had received it and that they were investigating, that's when they were willing to put that out. Now, that happened earlier this week. And then on Friday, they received a second note. Now, Jessica tells me that this came through their anonymous tip line. She says they are the only local affiliate in this market that can take email tips and you can be anonymous, but they can still track the IP addresses. Now, she went on to say that the IP addresses did not match. However, the person put in that note a detail to try to indicate that this was still the original sender of that original ransom note. They took it very seriously, obviously sent it to the investigators, and that's when we got that press release from the Pima County Sheriff's Office and the FBI saying that they are aware of a second note and that they are investigating. Now, investigators, again, at this hour have not identified a suspect nor a person of interest, but they have revealed just a timeline of how all of this unfolded. We know that Nancy Guthrie had dinner with her family Saturday evening. One of the family members at least returned her home around 9:48 p.m. and 4 hours later, around 1:47 in the morning, that's when her doorbell camera disconnects Investigators say minutes later, about 25 minutes later, there was motion detected on that camera, but because this camera is not uploaded to the cloud, there's no subscription service, the video does not exist. And then about 15 minutes later, her Apple Watch disconnects from the Pacemaker monitoring app. Now, we spoke with the investigator, our Liz Kreutz actually spoke with the Pima County Sheriff and asked, well, can you track the pacemaker? Can that tell you anything about proof of life? And he says, unfortunately, it's not definitive. So that's kind of a dead end when it comes to the pacemaker. Now, it's important to note that this is not over. There were two deadlines on the original ransom note, one for Thursday at 5 p.m., a second for Monday. As this new video comes out with Savannah once again sitting beside her siblings, saying and begging the alleged abductor to return their mother. This is the first time they are saying that they will publicly pay. This is the first time they have publicly said that they are willing to pay the ransom. The FBI said that that decision would be solely up to the family and that they would not be involved in any sort of payment, which is customary. But this is a major new shift in this case. When that payment will be made, we have not received that detail, but the hope is that Nancy Guthrie will return home, despite it being several days without her life-saving medication. We know that she has mobility issues, she's got a heart condition, and that medicine is imperative. So investigators have said for several days that they are holding out hope and still believe that she is alive. Although they have not received proof of life, they also have not received evidence of anything else. So they believe that she is still out there, and this video may indicate that the Guthries also believe that she is still out there. Again, that video asking and begging the abductors to return their mother to them so that they can celebrate with her. And they go on to say, this is very valuable to us. We will pay. Corey?
And Dana, I found it interesting, Savannah's, the 7 key words from the very beginning of Savannah's message. We received your message and we understand. It does sound like there are details that they want to communicate further to whoever may have taken their mother, but cannot possibly because of the very delicate nature of this situation. But it does sound like there might be details there they cannot convey as they delicately try to reach their mother. And this just speaking about 2 messages that we have at least been able to speak with authorities about. But Dana, are authorities concerned in general about just the deluge of messages, tips, and other potential copycat notes from anybody else regarding Nancy Guthrie? And have they spoken to you about how they're able to discern what could be a legitimate tip or a legitimate message from a copycat?
Well, Corey, they have said they welcome every single tip, no matter how small. They say they investigate every single one. So while there probably may be a concern that there could be copycats, we obviously had a situation in Southern California where a guy texted Savannah's sister, Annie, and her husband demanding payment. They easily found that person. He was arraigned in court, and he could face some serious prison time for that hoax ransom note. But investigators say they want the tips, and they've encouraged the tips, not only here locally, but also the FBI, setting up their FBI tip line to receive those tips. So a lot of information has come in. They are investigating every single one. It seems like they have to do it not only here on the ground, but also in various offices around the country to vet every single one, because this has really been a major priority for them, Corey.
Okay, Dana Griffin for us live in Tucson. We appreciate it. We appreciate your reporting straight from the ground there all week. And we want to play that one more time, that plea from Savannah for you that just came out, that new video. Take a listen.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
If you have any information on Nancy's disappearance, please call the tip line on your screen. It is 1-800-CALL-FBI. That concludes this NBC News special report. We'll have more of this coverage here on NBC News as news breaks and online at NBCnews.com. I'm Corey Coffin. Thank you for watching.
The investigation has spanned from the foothills to Rio Rico, where a delivery driver was detained and released after his eyes were thought to match the doorbell footage. Tips have poured in from a Circle K on Oracle Road, and the FBI has placed a $50,000 bounty on information. Nancy Guthrie cannot walk more than 50 yards on her own. She is a mother, a grandmother, and a pillar of her community, held somewhere in the vast Arizona desert. The family believes she is still out there, waiting for the light to find her in the darkness. If you have any information, no matter how small, contact 1-800-CALL-FBI. Case summary details. Victim: Nancy Guthrie, 84. Condition: pacemaker, limited mobility, daily life-saving medication required. Suspect description: male, 5 feet 9 inches to 5 feet 10 inches, average build. More key equipment: black 25-liter Ozark Trail, hiker pack, holstered handgun, ski mask. Last known location: Catalina Foothills, Arizona, January 31st, 9:48 p.m. Evidence: DNA confirmed blood on the porch, disconnected Nest camera. Notice: this content is a creative summary of the Nancy Guthrie investigation. It is intended for entertainment and to raise awareness for the case. The narrator and producers are not affiliated with the Guthrie family, the FBI, or the Pima County Sheriff's Office. If you possess any actual information regarding the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie, please do not leave it in the comments. Instead, contact 1-800-CALL-FBI or visit tips.fbi.gov immediately.